Hey folks, and welcome to Greg's Golf Shack. Golf season is almost here in the St. John's, Newfoundland area. We're currently in our second winter, that usual dump that we get in the middle of April, and hopefully it passes soon, and we're all very hopeful for an early golf season. But early season golf can be a little bit difficult. Some of us can struggle to find our swing. It's been a little bit dormant all winter, or even if we have been practicing, adjusting to the colder climate can be a little bit tough. So I want to go over a few things to help manage our expectations and help us find our early season golf swing. Now folks, I'd appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, follow me on my socials. I'm a certified instructor with the Canadian Golf Teachers Federation, and they just recognized me as one of the top 50 golf instructors in Canada. I want to help you improve your golf game and have more fun on the course. Okay, let's talk about expectations. Honestly, when it comes to getting out on the courses for the first time in the season, it's still a little bit cold. We're probably wearing a lot of clothes. If we're cold, we might contract a little bit and be a little shruggy, all these kind of things. It can be a little bit uncomfortable, and we're just so happy to get out on the course. Harness that feeling. Just be happy. Just have fun. Lower the expectations of the quality of golf. I don't think you should try to shoot a certain score. You can keep track, but don't evaluate your abilities based on those early season scores. The reality is that the conditions of the course are still growing in and they need time to really get in shape. So the course isn't conducive to us shooting our best scores to our ability either. So take it with some stride and just have a little bit of fun, work on hitting the ball, course management ideas, and you'll slowly catch that groove. When we get bunched up in all that clothing, we feel a little less flexible. Maybe our arms feel like they're out a little further to accommodate all those sleeves and undershirts, and our hips aren't moving because of all the long underwear and different things. We don't want to be starting to second guess our swing. What I want to do is help you find what's a nice smooth swing so we can have fun and build upon it as the weather gets better, as our game improves. So once we've managed those expectations, we're not expecting to score our best round ever in that early season, then we can start finding our swing. How do we find that dormant swing? And I think the first thing I'd like to start with is just how loose we need to be, especially that cold temperature. We can grip a little tighter and we have to feel like we have to hold on to that club and everything tenses up because the cold is just right in our bones. Let's feel the weight of the club and the softness and the smoothness that we need to be able to deliver. So I just want you to grab your club, hold it nice and loose, take a nice posture, not too far down, not too straight, and just wiggle that club back and forth like this. Now, in order to make this sort of figure eight with that club head and have it be smooth, I've got to release all the tension in my forearms, my wrists, my hands. I have to hold that club very loosely so this will just turn over my forearms and my wrists like this. Right? I'm moving my body a little bit, turning it, swinging my arms back and forth a little bit. Now this is really important for when you're really dialing in your game too, but especially in that early season. If we get too wooden, start hitting the ball like this, who knows what's going to happen. Nice and smooth. Now this doesn't mean you're holding your grip so lightly that the club is moving around in your hands. I want your hands on that grip. You're just not squeezing it. They're just on there. And get that nice loose feeling. All right, we'll come back to that. That's really important. Now the next step, I'm going to set my club down because we're just going to talk about how easy the turn is. We don't want to put a lot of effort in our turn, especially our backswing. So I just want to stand here. I want you to loosen up your knees, loosen up the hips, shake it out, and just do a relaxed turn as if you're doing a backswing, just like that. I want you to be really lazy. In fact, if I turn as if my golf ball is here so I can turn and look at the camera, I want to just go, hey, look how lazy that is. Now, the important thing I'm doing here is there's no effort in turning. Pick something in your room that you can turn and look to that would be away from your target line and make it nice and lazy. Notice what happens is my torso is turning and it's pointing right at you, at the camera. I'm doing a full 90-degree turn there. And as a result, I'm not focusing on my legs or my hips, but they are releasing naturally, right? I see a lot of people that really try to force these backswings and try to turn with all kinds of effort, and it's really uncomfortable. It can be hard on the back, it can be hard on the hips and things. I want you to just be lazy and just turn, right? Look how everything has released. We don't need effort in the backswing. In the through swing, similar. Just to get this feeling, I just want you to turn lazily at the camera like this way. And I'm going to release that trail foot so I can just spin that foot up into you. Now I'm not pushing off that foot. I'm just turning lazily, my chest towards the target, towards you and the camera, and letting that trail side come up. So if I was in my impact position this way, very lazy, just like that. Notice how I'm not pushing up with that foot. That's it. So the full turn I'm looking for is, hey, a really lazy turn like that. That's the essence of the turn in the golf swing. I know, it's silly, it's weird, but we don't want to get too much effort. We don't want to be swaying. We don't want to be pushing. There is going to be more explosive nature in our turn, in our swing, but that's the foundation, the idea of turning in the golf swing. Tom Watson said he likes to imagine you're standing in a barrel and you're spinning within that barrel, okay? There might end up being a little lateral movement, but that's the feeling you want of being centered and effortless turn. Now, we don't want the arms getting too carried away from us. So I want you to grab a club. I want you to put the handle right into your sternum there. I want you to reach your hands out and hold the club like this, all right? And I want you to get the feeling of that really lazy turn. Just point the club like that. A little harder when you have something here. You got to convince yourself. Make it lazy. Turn all the way through. Notice my arms and my hands and the club are following my chest. That's the main thing that's controlling this whole swing is our core, our torso, right? Our hips and different things are turning and releasing as a result, all right? Now, when you do this, I want to make sure that your trail elbow doesn't come up. A lot of people will do this thinking they have to generate a lot of strength and muscle to push that club down. Try and keep that elbow pointing towards the ground as you do this. Lazy back and turn through. Release that trail side. All right? I want you to try that. You can even try to take the golf stance and do this. Don't bend over too much and try the same thing. Lazy back and through. Even I have to find that feeling sometimes because it's easy to put too much effort into that backswing. All right, and then you want to try it without looking back. A lot of people keep doing that. We're going to be looking at the ball on the way back, so back and through. Back and through, okay? Take the club, put it in your hand. Let's do a couple of, not swings, but just what we were doing, but holding the club instead. Back and through. Okay? Got to find that feeling. Back and through. Very lazy back. Look how nice that is. Now, remember that little wobbly feeling? Let's throw some of that in there. A little wobbly. You can feel the whip of the club. Whoa. Wow. I can start to generate some speed there. Okay. Now, we're not going to be swinging the club back with all this momentum when we're going back and forth like that. So now we'll do a couple of swings where we start from a setup position. Nice and lazy back. Our arms aren't going to be too loose here. We don't want that to happen. Just a little bit of firmness just to bring it back. And then we're going to loosen everything to come through. Okay? So back and loose. Loose. Feels pretty good, all right? Doesn't feel like I'm working too hard. What happens if I try hitting a ball? Oh, that was pure. I really compressed that thing. Now, it doesn't mean your swings are going to be perfect, but you're going to be in a good position to not cause any injury and to have fun striking the ball. Now, if you're having a lot of mishits, right? Let's try to make minor adjustments at this point. When we're dealing with cold conditions, our body's not quite working, I would advise not to start changing your swing to correct what's going on out there. Instead, I'd like to advise that you just make tiny little adjustments to your setup position to be able to correct some certain kind of mishits. So for example, if your ball is here and you're consistently hitting fat, you're consistently hitting down into the ground before the ball. Well, sure, there's some things, some over the top, there's some things you could work on with your swing, but when you're having fun, you're out on the course, you want the quick fix, maybe move the ball back in your stance a little bit, closer to being lined with your back foot. So when you start hitting the ground, where you move the ball to where the club is hitting the ground, and maybe you'll make better contact. Alternatively, if you feel like you're coming down, you're hitting the ball right on top of it, you're chopping down on it, well, maybe move the ball a little bit forward, up closer to the front foot, and see if that gives you better contact. An easy adjustment to your setup position. This doesn't mean it's going to be a long-term fix, but when you're out having fun and you need quick fixes, that can help you make a little bit better contact. The other thing, let's say you've got the ball spinning out of control one way or the other, or it's pulling hard to the left or pushing hard to the right. Some of that might just be face angle. So if you're setting up, make sure you're not setting up with too much of an open face or too much of a closed face. Even if you're setting up with what looks like a neutral face, there's a good chance that based on your impact position, you could be closing or opening that face. So if you feel like you're really striking the ball with a closed face, or if you're striking the ball with an open face, you can adjust your face at setup. So if you're here, if you really feel like you're pulling the ball, you're hitting the ball with a closed face, well then adjust the face at your setup. Open it up a little bit like that. Don't just turn your hands open because your hands will come back. Just adjust that face and re-grip so the face is open at setup. Maybe that'll help straighten up that ball flight. Similarly, if you feel like the face is wide open at impact, close the face at setup and re-grip so the club stays closed. It might look awkward, but maybe that club will square up a little bit and you'll hit it a little bit straighter. And just like hitting it fat or thin, one of the other things you can adjust to be able to help control the direction of the ball or even which way it's spinning is to move the ball front and back in your stance, either back closer to the being aligned with the back foot or up closer to being aligned with the front foot. So if you're coming through impact and the face is closing like this and you're starting the ball really hard to the left for a right-handed player, well, if you put that ball back in the stance a little bit, maybe you'll hit it with a square face and maybe a little bit of a better path, because our club is essentially moving around in a circle like this. And wherever the ball is, our impact in that circle determines where the ball flight is going to go. So if we move the ball back a little bit, then we're controlling the face to be a little bit more open and the path to be more inside out. If we move the ball beyond the apex of that swing circle, up in the stance, then the face will be closing a little bit or the path will be going out to in a bit. So there's room to adjust it. Now, this is a topic that deserves a lot more detail about how to shape the ball and the physics of ball flight when you're shaping it and how much spin and the ratio between face and path angle, all these kind of things. So I'm not trying to tell you necessarily how to really correct a golf swing. I'm giving you quick fixes, something to experiment with. If the ball is going off in a direction that you don't intend, one thing you can experiment with is where that ball is in your stance. Try moving it back, try moving it forward, see if it helps get you through the round and having some fun. And folks, that should get you through the early season. Make sure you've got a nice turn, effortless backswing, nice loose hands and wrists. Give yourself a nice swing and a few little adjustments if you need to straighten out that ball flight. I hope you enjoyed that video. Enjoy your early season golf. We'll see you next time on Greg's Golf Shack.